Radio. How's it going, guys? How's it going, guys? So, PhantomCave here with the latest PhantomCave comic. So, we're going to be talking about the Nest of the Undead. So, here it is. We've got, I think, front cover is done by Jason Paulos, which relates back to the comic that we will be talking about, and the back cover has been done by Joan Boyce. So yeah, it's pretty cool. We're going to have a look at it, and also in this comic we also have the Riddle of the Grey Malkin, episode 4. I actually read this comic today, so it's pretty cool. I love to see old comics, like old stories or new stories that are interpreted in a new way, and we're going to be talking about what the story is about. So the story, it starts off with a very spooky sort of intro. So we have, obviously it's partly based in, I think, the 15th century. We have this big warlord who, as you may know, is a hero to his people and feared by his enemies. So that is Vlad, number the 3rd. So it's basically, it's the cruel Vlad the Impaler. So yeah. So one of the things that came out of this comic when I was actually reading it is that this story, I'll change the, yeah, there we go. So this story, it has a lot of historical links and a lot of historical sort of script to do with it. It's obviously got Vlad the Impaler in it, which, as you know, you would know him as, who would know? You'd know him as Dracula, and all that, something like that. I'll read some of the panels from the story. So this panel is on the 3rd page of the latest comic, which is number 1902, and this is what has to say. Transylvania, the 15th century. He was a great warlord, a hero to his people, feared by his enemies. Vlad the 3rd, Voivode of Wallachia. The cruel Vlad the Impaler. You and I know him as the Dracula. Rumours of Dracula's cruelty were spread around the world. Those who did him wrong were impaled outside Poneri Castle, where he resided. When the Ottoman sultans sent 2 messengers to meet with Vlad the Dracula, they didn't remove their turbans because of the religious customs. Dracula insisted on helping them keep their turbans on by nailing the turbans to their heads, which is what you'd say pretty gruesome, eh? And then when the Turks finally attacked Poneri Castle, Vlad Dracula managed to escape to never return. So this Dracula, this what would you call it, this sort of immortal being is with us, and we don't even know if he's going to be around today. We don't even know if this story or if this intro that is written by Pede Anderson, which he's amazing. I tagged him on the post. I tagged him, I think, on the live stream post today, so he's pretty cool. And also tagged Joan Boyce on it as well. He's awesome there. So we have Poneri Castle was abandoned and remained empty for centuries. The ruined castle, believed to be haunted, has become a gloomy reminder of the cruelty of Vlad the Impaler. 1912. Ari Fu Argeș County, Romania. So basically how the story goes, how's it going, King Comics Rises? Yeah, it's what? It's 7:30 here, so yeah, I'll keep on with the story. So we've also, it breaks out into the century of 1912. We've got these two, a son and a father who is basically going out to hunt animals or something, so they can obviously provide some sort of dinner to their family. His father, the son and the father then go up to the castle. They notice that there's actual lights up in the castle, so there's obviously going to be someone in there. So it's it's a review of the story. I'm going to basically outline most of the points that's with this story, and say what it's about, and then I'm actually going to wrap it all up and basically give my thoughts on what could happen. So we have a son and a father who they accidentally meet this Vlad the Impaler, this Dracula, who is residing in the castle. The father then gets killed by, obviously, I don't know, by what you'd call vampires, I guess. And then the village that had been doing, well, obviously a small village, hasn't really got much to show. Dracula and his mob, obviously, they obviously come to this village wanting to get this guy's services, which is a coffin man. This is a coffin man. That guy dies because he doesn't want to work with Dracula. His son then goes to his father and mother. The father then goes and looks to see if his brother or uncle is still alive. The brother is not. The brother is dead, and found at the house. They have a funeral for him. And back in those days, there was, you'd say a lot of. You'd say it's not like modern day times. It's a bit different back in those days. So we have this sort of woman, and she speaks of this person who had helped her in like a past story. So this story that she's going to be talking about, she was talking about there was a similar situation a few years ago in Carpathia, in Vakul Castle. A mysterious stranger from a country far away arrived and helped the people. And they talk about this issue, this story that was published back in the issue number was 1651. And in the next 2 pages, we actually get to see the 19th Phantom arrive on January 12th, 1913. The Phantom obviously tracks down where this castle is. Everyone actually knows where the castle is, and he basically meets this Dracula, this Vlad the Impaler, this guy that never dies, and he actually says, yeah, I know who that person is. I know another guy that obviously is immortal, and who's that guy? It's the Phantom. Yeah, who is it? How's that? And so the Dracula and his mob, they turn up on this woman's house and basically hypnotize her with obviously his eyes, and then the woman that actually had sent for the Phantom then tries to kill the Phantom, but then gets splashed with a bit of milk. So I'll be showing panel up on the screen right now. So damn good art by Jane Boyce. Look at that. So damn cool. So damn cool. So then the woman tries to kill the Phantom with a knife. The Phantom then wakes her up out of her hypnotized state. The Phantom then goes to try and stop these Dracula, and this mob, his mob, gets shot in the face. Then goes back to his, obviously, where he's staying. Gets a bit, basically gets, what's the word for it? Basically gets, recovers, and then goes again back to the castle, and he waits for these Dracula. He waits for Vlad the Impaler, and I'll be showing the image up on the screen right now so you can follow where I'm at. So I'm at this page over here. He's basically waiting for these so-called Draculas to arrive, and what happens in the next couple of pages is that the Phantom obviously shocks and spooks one of the so-called mob that is to do with the Dracula mob, and then there's a whole lot of punching. The Phantom obviously wins that battle, which is this one over here. He's punching the guts out of people. And he meets the Vlad the Impaler. And when that's actually happening, when he actually meets this Vlad the Impaler, or this guy that's supposed to be the Dracula, what happens is that there's a earthquake that happens. Most of the building, most of the castle actually disintegrates. And if that hadn't happened, if the earthquake hadn't happened, well, the Phantom was basically going to get hypnotized to basically kill himself or be suicidal. So yeah, it's a great story. I enjoyed it. And how it ends is that we have an earthquake that's just happened. It's got rid of most of the structural integrity from the castle. And then this mysterious Vlad the Impaler, this mysterious Dracula, we see him basically stabbed with, some very spiky thorns, or very spiky shards of rock. But what happens after that is that the Phantom goes down to basically see if this Vlad the Impaler is alive, but he's gone. He's disintegrated into thin air. Impossible, just impossible, he says. And in the last panel that we actually see, these Vlad the Impaler, these Dracula mob, they've actually been trying to smuggle these products and these things in these coffins to then support people that have, because the main part of this story is where we see that the main part of it, obviously all Phantom stories, the main part of it is smuggling weapons and anything like that. We actually see that the smuggling that had been happening does this mean that the leader of the smugglers really was a vampire? I guess I'll never find out. But there's no such thing as vampires, or is there? Ooh, very, very spooky. And then you just saw, there's something going on with the connection, but anyways. So then we lead into The Phantom by Gaslight, episode 4 of the Riddle of Grey Malkin. As what has happened during this story so far is that Paris Green and co have discovered, with the aid of the Phantom, the rare jungle cat known as the Grey Malkin. In an unfortunate series of events, the feline has been seriously injured necessitating the ghost who walks to take her on a mercy dash for treatment. Meanwhile, the troupe back at camp have discovered the Malkin's clutch of kittens, which the actress that is actually taking care of these so-called feline cubs, she's basically taking care of them. But at the end of this story, one of the cubs nearly gets attacked by Bengalian jungle dogs, which I'm guessing are like those big African wild dogs who have are known for what the black spots, I think, on their body and their head or something. They're about to attack the lady who's one of the most, you'd think, one of the what would at that time was famous for her acting skills. And the cubs get attacked by these Bengalian jungle wolves, these jungle dogs. The lady then runs for safety. The hunter of the pack basically gets killed because of from the jungle dogs. One jungle dog tries to chase the lady. That jungle dog meets a faithful end by a crocodile. The lady is then surrounded by crocs and crocodiles in a mysterious island. The other two guys, the manager, I'm guessing, and the professor, actually are basically cowards and don't really help her. And then the Phantom comes along. He basically saves Paris and urges the group of misfits to go back to where they came from. So the Phantom basically urges these misfits to go back to New York and resemble what their normal life would be. Like, their normal life would probably be, I don't know, the actor probably is been in films and all the time, is making all these doshes. But then when they actually get back to New York, they discover that this cub, there's this cub that has made an attachment to Paris. So the next episode in this new episode series of The Phantom by Gaslight, we see the Phantom. He's going to hit New York City to try and find out where this rare Grail Malkin cub is, and we'll just have to see and wait for we'll have to wait and see for the 5th episode, which I'm guessing came out last week or something. That came out in 1903. I haven't read that yet, but I'll get to it. And I might be doing more of these live streams just to get through the backlog of reviews. Either that or I'll be doing... That's how it ends on the 34th page. It's pretty cool. I'm actually quite enjoying that story because the story, as I said in the story that I said in, I think, it was one of the last reviews I did, probably a couple of weeks ago. The story really reminds me of that Disney movie that was made and was brought out in cinemas in the last, 4 or 5 months. And that story, I think, is something to do with... It has Dwayne Johnson in it, and it has some other people in it. I'm pretty sure that's got to do with Jungle Cruise. Yeah, that's it, Jungle Cruise. So the story, to me, really relates to Jungle Cruise. Even though I haven't seen the movie, if you've watched, say, like the trailers of the movie, you actually get a sense that this story that has these band of misfits, they they basically lead into the Phantom, and the Phantom actually shows them where these rare Malkin cubs are from, and wants to try and the Phantom is trying to protect it. So if you take that into instance, and you put that into a movie, it sort of relates back to the Jungle Cruise in a way, because yeah, it's just, I'm amazed at this story. I'm really, really enjoying this story, and that's, yeah, it's a good story. So then we have a Phantom board game ad. I've read so many of these over the last, couple of months. Yeah, I've read that many of these ads that they put in the back page. So if you would like to, basically, if you have enough dosh, if you would like to buy the Phantom board game, The Treasures of Dracon, you can buy it for $135 including postage, available from Frew Publications or phantomcomic.com.au, where you can find the best, the greatest Phantom comics that have ever been produced, and will be more coming in the future issues and future books as we look to see more comics being produced by Frew Publications. And as always, we're going to be having a look at the back cover now. And the back cover this week is supplied by Joan Boyce. Look at that mintness. Look at that. Absolute greatness there. Just another one-time look at the cover done by Jason Paulos. Amazing. Amazing. Again, this issue number is 1902, and if you would like to subscribe to the PhantomCave YouTube channel, you can do so by liking, sharing, commenting if you enjoyed this live stream. Comment if you want me to do any more of these live streams, and as always, keep PhantomCaving. We'll be back with another video on Friday and Saturday, and as always, keep PhantomCaving, and we'll see you next time.